Otto Ernst Remer, was born in New Brandenburg on August 18, 1912, when Germany was still an empire. He grew up during a time of great change, Germany in the aftermath of the First World War, the collapse of the monarchy, the rise of political extremism and economic instability. From a young age he showed interest in the military and leadership. He enrolled in a military academy, and by 1932, when he was about 20 years old, he was commissioned as an officer in what was then the German army under the Weimar Republic. A few months later, the political system in Germany would shift dramatically as the National Socialist movement rose to power. Remer's early career as an officer coincided with the buildup of the military under the Nazi regime. As the German army Wehrmacht expanded and reorganized, he moved through the ranks. At the outbreak of the Second World War, he served in the infantry and later in the elite regiment known as Großdeutschland. He saw action in multiple campaigns and was wounded and decorated for his performance. His aggressiveness in battle, his ability to inspire his men, and his loyalty to his superiors marked him as a rising officer. By 1943, Remer was a major, and he took command of a battalion in the Großdeutschland regiment. He was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross with oak leaves, one of Nazi Germany's highest military decorations, recognizing his personal combat leadership. During these years he fought on the Eastern Front, where the conditions were harsh, the fighting brutal, and the Soviet resistance determined. The Eastern Front was characterized by extreme cold, supply shortages, huge casualty numbers, and bitter attrition warfare. In 1944, Remer's name became widely known in Germany for his role in responding to the plot to kill Hitler on July 20th. The conspiracy involved officers within the Wehrmacht who attempted to assassinate Adolf Hitler and seize power in order to negotiate an end to the war. On that day, Remer was in command of troops in Berlin and was ordered to retake control of the city. He moved quickly, arrested the plotters, secured key government buildings, and helped to ensure that Hitler remained in command. His swift action helped extinguish the coup attempt before it could succeed. For this, he received public acclaim and rapid promotion. His loyalty to Hitler and the regime was rewarded. After the coup attempt, Remer was promoted to Oberst Colonel, and by early 1945 to General Major, Major General. He was given command of the Führer Brigade, and later the Führer Grenadier Division, formations associated with defending Hitler's headquarters and the regime itself. As the war turned against Germany, Remer's units fought in increasingly desperate situations, facing overwhelming Soviet forces, collapsing supply lines, and the final collapse of the Third Reich. When Germany surrendered in May 1945, Remer and many other officers found themselves without a country, without a cause, and facing the prospect of capture. He surrendered to Allied forces and was held as a prisoner of war. In the immediate aftermath of the war, he was discharged from military service as Germany underwent occupation, demilitarization, and reconstruction. But Remer's story did not end with the war. He became politically active in post-war Germany. In 1950, he co-founded the Socialist Reich Party, Sozialistische Reichspartei, a far-right political organization that sought to preserve elements of Nazi ideology. He became a prominent figure in the neo-Nazi movement in West Germany, openly denying the Holocaust and organizing revisionist propaganda. In 1952, the Socialist Reich Party was banned by the German government under laws preventing the formation of anti-constitutional organizations. Remer was prosecuted and eventually convicted of incitement of racial hatred, receiving a prison sentence of 22 months. In his later life, Remer lived abroad for a time, notably in Spain, and continued his political activism, publishing extremist writings and participating in meetings of neo-Nazi networks. He argued for a revision of German history and maintained his loyalty to the myth of the clean Wehrmacht, the idea that the German armed forces were not complicit in Nazi crimes. His activities and views made him a highly controversial figure in post-war Germany and abroad. Remer died on October 4, 1997, in Marbella, Spain. He was 85 years old. His death closed a chapter on one of the more prominent former Wehrmacht officers who transitioned into the neo-Nazi scene. His legacy remains problematic. On one hand, a skilled military officer earning distinction under extremely difficult wartime conditions. On the other hand, a committed supporter of a regime responsible for staggering crimes and later, a militant advocate of extremist ideology. Remer's rise from young officer to general during the most violent war in Europe reflects the trajectory of Germany itself, a nation that rearmed, blitzed across Europe, collapsed under assault, and then faced reckoning. His role in stopping the July 20 plot placed him at a critical moment in that history. The fact that he used that moment to advance not only his career, but also the regime's cause shows how military loyalty and political ideology were intertwined in Nazi Germany. His combat record demonstrates brutal warfighting, leading men into dangerous fronts, engaging in direct attacks, being wounded and decorated. At the same time, being part of the elite Großdeutschland unit placed him within the inner circle of the German military hierarchy, which played a substantial role in the occupation of territories and the enforcement of Nazi policies. While he is not as well known as some top Nazi leaders, his combination of battlefield experience, operational leadership, and ideological commitment makes him an instructive figure for understanding how the German armed forces functioned under Nazism. One important theme is the question of responsibility. Soldiers like Remer often faced horrific choices under the regime's demands. Remer's willingness to serve a criminal regime, not only fighting the war but later embracing and promoting its ideology, shows that military expertise alone does not guarantee moral detachment from the political goals of a government. His post-war activism reveals that he did not embrace democratic values or come to terms with his past in any meaningful way, but remained aligned with extremist thinking. Another theme is the intertwining of politics and military service. In Nazi Germany, the military was not only a fighting force, but also a pillar of the regime's power structure. Officers like Remer owed their advancement not purely to battlefield courage, but to political loyalty to Hitler's inner circle. His rapid promotion after the July 20 plot underscores how the regime rewarded those who defended it. He was as much a political actor as he was a soldier. Remer's story also shows the difficulties of post-war German society in dealing with its Nazi past. The fact that he could found and lead a far-right party, be active for years, and only receive a modest prison sentence highlights how fragile post-war denazification was in some respects. It also underlines the persistent attraction of extremist ideologies, even after the defeat of Nazi Germany. His ability to operate in Spain and continue publishing extremist material underscores the international dimensions of neo-Nazi networks. When looking at how Remer is remembered, historians debate his role in the Wehrmacht and his subsequent political activism. Some emphasize his military skill and the dramatic moment on July 20 where he prevented a coup. Others focus on his ideological commitment and his refusal to distance himself from National Socialism. In recent decades, scholarship has increasingly rejected the narrative of the clean Wehrmacht and placed officers like Remer in the broader context of the regime's crimes. His example illustrates how the German armed forces were deeply enmeshed in Nazi policy, and how individual officers often carried ideological motivations as well as taking part in combat. In education and commemoration, Remer is often cited not as a hero but as a cautionary figure. He reminds us that professional military performance can coexist with moral blindness or extremist ideology. His life covers the full arc of Nazi Germany, from rearmament to war to defeat to the struggle over memory and ideology. Because of his active role in post-war extremist politics, he is also a reminder that defeat does not automatically equal rehabilitation or repentance. Thanks for watching. If you have a comment regarding Otto Ernst Remer, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe.